of the local priest, who made several visits to Tzuji's base in Port-au-Prince to ask for help on behalf of his impoverished parishioners.
Forgetting the poverty for a moment, Haiti is a very beautiful country. But the poor Haitian people do not seem to notice its beauty. They do not have the time to look up and appreciate the view. The seaside town of Cabaret is a 45-minute drive from Port-au-Prince. The Da-I TV reporter discovers why people have been gazing at the ground since the quake.
Even if you look closely, it's not easy to see grains of corn in the gravel. Why is corn mixed in with the gravel?
Closer inspection reveals the grain is wheat. Animals compete with humans for the food, and as people sift the soil, their masked faces become covered in dust.
They use it in the factory to make the output. You understand? And then when they finish, they put it in the bag, and then they sell it in Haiti. You understand? But during the earthquake, the factory are flat, and then they take it. I don't even know what they're gonna do with it. Let me ask them what they're gonna do with it now.
Okay. The only factory in the town was destroyed in the quake, leaving the wheat behind, which the jobless residents collect to make a living.
They're collecting to sell to people, to give to chicken.
Okay. So this one can make money?
Okay, yeah, can make money with.
Okay.
All right.
But one day the grain will run out. It seems unlikely the townspeople can use the supply to escape the poverty trap. The priest who serves this area has been to the Tzuji OECC base many times to ask for help for these impoverished families. The kind-hearted priest and the honest residents have survived on their own so far, but they are hoping for a helping hand from the outside.
Many churches and convents were destroyed in the Haitian earthquake, but the priests and nuns are more concerned about their congregations than rebuilding their places of worship. As we found out in our last story, the local priest in Cabaret, 45 minutes from Port-au-Prince, has been asking Tzuji to help the townspeople. After their survey on Sunday, March 14, the volunteers will assess the feasibility of a future aid relief program. In the meantime, volunteers also visited 2 convents in Port-au-Prince, donating food to the St. Francis School and preparing aid for the Sainte Marie convent.
Some surprise visitors fill the quake-hit St. Francis School with happiness. Bringing enough kidney beans and rice and food to last 10 days, the Tzuji volunteers have finally located this Catholic mission. A Swedish volunteer reads a letter from Master Zhengyan in an expression of cross-faith compassion.
Let's pray for people, all the Haitian people, the country, to get back, to recover as soon as possible. Let's pray.
Halfway up the mountains around Port-au-Prince, 2 5-story dorms were knocked down in the quake. 3 of the nuns insist on staying in a derelict building, while the other 7 nuns and the families of the students are living in tents. In these difficult conditions, the nuns say their primary concern is to rebuild the school so the children can continue their education.
Thank you.
Volunteers hand over supplies which come with blessings from Tzuji members around the world.
You're very kind. The world has a lot of kind people. Tzuji is a very good example. Your kindness makes us feel that people thousands of miles away care about us.
Recording the needs of the disaster victims and moving on, the team arrives at the Sainte Marie convent, which has 10 schools and several clinics in the area. 2 nuns died in the earthquake. The 46 survivors wonder how they can rebuild. Relying on public donations, the nuns have only 10 days of food left. The volunteers arranged to return with food the next day, which was Sunday, March 14th, in the hope that these nuns can overcome their current problems.
Moving over to the earthquake in Chile, the Tzuji disaster relief team has been shopping for aid supplies and comparing prices before they buy in bulk. When we went to air, volunteers were still trying to secure a supply of tarpaulins.
塑胶布的部分，因为它的价钱像贵，而且有 Tarpaulins are quite costly now, and we're not sure if there's enough supply for us. How we're going to cut it, the machines that we need, and where to store them have yet to be discussed. And because of all that, we'll need some time to prepare before we can hold our first aid distribution. We thought about shipping the tarpaulins in from the US, but it all depends on how long they'll take to get here. We still have a lot of work to do.
Apart from securing the source of tarpaulins and blankets after comparing food prices, the reconnaissance team has decided to buy aid supplies in Santiago. Preparation work is now forging speedily ahead with the goal of distributing aid to 2,500 families in Tecate, Cobquecura and Caleta Tumbes before the rainy season arrives in Chile.
Now to Bali in Indonesia, where we meet 23-year-old Putu, who was left blind in both eyes after a sports accident when he was in high school. Though frustrated, the young man refused to give up on life, and with the Tzu scholarship, he's now taking food. As well as visiting the sisters, Tzu volunteers in Haiti also went back to Leogani to visit a local nursing school. The principal of the school suggested Tzu organise a free clinic to help alleviate the desperate need for medical services in the city.
Since the earthquake, a field outside a nursing college is the perfect spot for a refugee camp. These tents are now all the residents have to call home. In the tight space, children wash and women dry clothes, yet somehow everyone gets by.
A Buddhist charity organization, we are interested in the rebuilding process to make a mid-term to long-term medical solution for the remote area.
Here in Leogani, which is a population of 200,000 people, the visiting Tzu volunteers understand the desperate need for medical care. The college principal also suggests the volunteers set up a free clinic. Meanwhile, local volunteer Daniel George takes the Tzu team to the Sisters of St. Anne convent near Port-au-Prince. Over half a century old, the buildings could not withstand the force of the quake. Around a dozen schools and 2 clinics were destroyed. There's even a smell of rotting flesh. Walking over the rubble that used to be a school, the Tzu volunteers understand how the nuns feel. However, food is the most pressing need before the nuns can step out on the road to recovery.
The road to recovery in Chile is just starting. The 6 Argentinian volunteers in the quake-hit country met up with local Taiwanese entrepreneurs in Santiago on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, the team split into 2 groups to continue meetings with the diaspora community and gather together aid supplies.